live inside of that, for the best part of 4 years. Well, this specific tank did not see action in World War II. We received permission from the Army to paint it as if it was in action in southwest France at the same time as Forrest Everhart. So the tanks with these markings, and you'll see on the front, the markings on the left say 3A, that's Patton's 3rd Army, and the 10th Armored Division, and what was that, 21st Armored Battalion? The Delta stands for Armored. So that was the 10th Division, 21st Battalion. Then over on the right, it says that it was Charlie Company and tank number 12. So not this tank, but a tank just like it with these markings were in southwestern France in November of 1944, at the same time that Forrest Everhart was fighting the Germans, like I said, about maybe 10 miles away. We see also on the back, you'll see 30. That stands for the fact that the tank is unloaded weight was 30 tons. You also see a yellow marking on the front. That was for the Army Combat Engineers. So when they were coming to like a pontoon bridge, they would know whether or not the bridge would hold the tank. So that's what that 30 stands for. And then the serial number alongside it. So this tank, as officially, is 308257. Which means it's the Sherman tank, the serial number 8257. We also wanted to make this look as authentic as possible. So we had a pad prepared that looks just like the streets of Paris in 1944-45. That was done locally, so for the pad, we express our thanks to Troy Collins at Old World Concrete. And Troy, where are you? Here you go. Thank you, Troy. The Military Veterans Resource Center is proud to offer C-12 a permanent home as part of Forrest E. Everhart Memorial Golf Course. Before we cut the ribbon dedicating the tank, we'll first hear from Abby Reynolds of Military Veterans Resource Center as she reads Mr. Everhart's Medal of Honor citation. They'll give you shivers. Our concluding speaker will be Mr. Ryan O'Connor, Marine Corps veteran and military liaison for U.S. Representative Steve Stivers. So, Abby?
Forrest Everhart commanded a platoon that bore the brunt of a desperate enemy counterattack near Curling, France before dawn on November 12, 1944. When German tanks and self-propelled guns penetrated his left flank and overwhelming infantry forces threatened to overrun the one remaining machine gun in that section, he ran 400 yards through woods churned by artillery and mortar concentrations to strengthen the defense. With the one remaining gunner, he directed furious fire into the advancing hordes until they swarmed close to the position. He left the gun, boldly charged the attackers, and after a 15-minute exchange of hand grenades, forced them to withdraw, leaving 30 dead behind. He recrossed the fire-swept terrain to his then threatened right flank, exhorted his men, and directed murderous fire from the single machine gun at that position. There, in the light of bursting mortar shells, he again closed with the enemy in a hand grenade duel, and after a fierce 30-minute battle, forced the Germans to withdraw, leaving another 20 dead. The gallantry and intrepidity of Tech Sergeant Everhart in rallying his men and refusing to fall back in the face of terrible odds were highly instrumental in repelling the fanatical enemy counterattack directed at the American bridgehead across the Moselle River.
Wow.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ryan O'Connor from Congressman Steve Stivers' office. When Len asked me to come here, we actually asked Steve to come represent the office, and I asked Steve, and then he called me, and he was like, what kind of tank is it? He was asking me about the tank and about the today and what was going on. Steve really is obsessed with tanks and guns and bullets and stuff like that, so he was unfortunate that he couldn't be here. So although I cannot say that I had the honor knowing a man such as Forrest Everhart in my lifetime, I can confidently say that he'd be proud today. I'm guessing quiet, maybe humble, but as he watches over the golf course today, his family and community, and all the employees of the VA for which he worked for as well, he would be proud. You know, I'm from Buffalo, New York, and our VA had a golf course as well. And the city of Buffalo now owns the golf course. And there's not much remnants that the VA used to own the golf course. So the fact that the Chillicothe VA and the Military Veterans Resource Center, they've been able to find a way to save this golf course and keep it operating, protect its history, and continue to build its history. It's extremely noble. And it's really, really awesome for the community. So it's great that you guys are continuing this. So for everybody that's here, that served, thank you. It's really awesome when we can get together like this and honor, you know, someone who earned the Medal of Honor. So I'm gonna give the stage back to Len so that we can proceed and cutting the ribbon to this piece of history, and then we can enjoy each other's company and honor in the service of Medal of Honor recipient, Mr. Forrest Everhart. Thank you.
Questions about why we have this big tow truck sitting behind us. It's because C-12 is awfully heavy, and in order to get it down here to Chillicothe, someone had to go and get it. And so Rusty's towing service you know, went and got the tank for us and brought it down here. I think it took 2 tanks to you know, to get it up on a flatbed, or you know, lowboy, to get it down here. And then we had it sitting out here while we poured the pad, and we had to paint it and everything. And then Rusty's came back to help us pull the tank onto the pad. And so you know, we're grateful for their generosity and for their patriotism. And so they wanted to be part of this today. And so we have them out here and back, and with the colors flying. And so I think if we could just you know, just give some applause and thanks to Rusty's Towing Service. That was not going to fit in the back of my truck. Okay, we're now going to have the ribbon cutting, and so we have
they're present.
Really a couple of really special guests to participate in the ribbon cutting. We'd first like to call up Mr. Gary Davis, who is a cousin to Forrest Everhart. Gary? And we'd also like to invite Chester Collins to come up and join us. Chester served in the Navy during World War II, and a whole bunch of his service was hauling Sherman tanks into battle. So Chester told me that you know, in his ship they would carry sometimes 30 to 35 tanks, Shermans at a time. So we're grateful to have him here. We'd also like to invite Dennis Simpson back up, participate in the ribbon cutting, representing VITI. And we'd also like Cindy Norton Roush, representing the VA, to join us as well. Okay, so let's get the scissor in the middle to these 2 young gentlemen here, and have them work together here to cut it. Okay.
Very sharp.
And go. All right. thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming today. If you want your picture taken with the tank, we do have a photographer here, and we'll get it to you. We also have hot dogs and burgers up near the starter house, and get there and grab some food if you'll. So thanks again for coming today.